Jaya Baladev, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami Bhavatu Me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maya Ki Jai, Narsinghadev Bhagwan Ki Jai, Krishna Balaram Bhagwan Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Govardhana Bhagwan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai Bhagwan Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So today we are celebrating Snana Yatra here at New Govardhana. So I'll be speaking on Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev and Lady Subhadra, and what the significance of the festival is today, as well as what the practices are in today's days for Snana Yatra, and the philosophy. So there's actually a lot of content, but the good news is there's also going to be a class this evening on Snana Yatra this afternoon. So before we actually start the class, I'd like to just start off by repeating some prayers to Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, Lady Subhadra, and Sudarshan Chakra to get their blessings and to welcome them in one way. So whenever we, for example, have an Abhishek and the deities come, we offer prayers of welcome, or when a personality comes. So these prayers are, and when we bow down to pay our obeisances, we offer prayers. So these prayers, if you could please repeat after me. These are the pranam mantras of Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, and so we'll repeat the mantras after me, and then I will give the translation of that. Deva Deva Jagannatha Prapanarti Vinashana Trahi Mam Pundrikaksha Patitam Bhava Sagare Namaste Jagatatara Jagat Atma Namostute Kaivalya Trigunatita Gunanjana Namostute Karunamrita Pathodhi Sudhamne Namo Namaha Dino Dharika Ghuyaya Kripa Pathodhaye Namaha Paritrahi Jagannatha Dinabandho Namostute Nistirnoham Bhavam Bodhim Prapya Tvam Tarinam Sukham. Jai Jagannath Bhagwan Ki Jai. O God of gods, O Jagannatha, O Lord of the universe, please destroy this great distress that has overcome me. O lotus-eyed one, please deliver this fallen soul from the ocean of material existence. I offer my obeisances unto you, the support of the universe. To you, the very soul of the universe. I humbly bow. You are situated above the three material qualities and the impersonal Brahman as well. Yet you are decorated with wonderful transcendental qualities. To you I offer my respectful obeisances. O you who are an ocean of nectarian compassion and whose abode is most attractive, I offer my obeisances unto you again and again. You are the soul uplifter and deliverer of the fallen souls, but no one can understand how you do this. O ocean of mercy, I offer you my respectful obeisances. O Lord Jagannath, please rescue me. O friend of the fallen, I offer my obeisances unto you. Please deliver me from this vast material ocean. Obtaining your lotus feet, I will become supremely happy. Jai Jagannath. So Lord Balaram's pranam mantras now. Namaste tu halagrama. Namaste musala yudha. Namaste Revati Kanta. Namaste Bhakta Vatsalaha. Namaste Balinam Shrestha. Namaste Dharani Dhara. Pralambhare Namaste Tu. Trahi Mam Krishna Purvaja. Jai Balaram Bhagwan Ki Jai. Obeisances to you, O holder of the plough. Obeisances to you, O wielder of the mace. Obeisances to you, O beloved of Revati. Obeisances to you who are very kind to your devotees. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Balaram, the best of the strong and the support of the earth. Obeisances unto you, O enemy of Pralambha. Please deliver me, O elder brother of Krishna. Jai Balaram Bhagwan Ki Jai. Shri Subhadra Pranama. Devi Tvam Vishnu Mayapi Moyanti Characharam Hirt Padmasana Sanstasti Vishnu Bhavanusharani Jai Devi Bhakti Datri Prasida Parameshwari Jaya Devi Subhadre Tvam Sarvesham Bhadradaini. Subhadra Ji Ki Jai. O Devi, you are Lord Vishnu's Maya, and as such you cause the bewilderment of all moving and non-moving living entities in the universe. Situated on the lotus seat, your heart is great loving devotion to Lord Vishnu. All glories to you, the bestower of bhakti. You are famous as the supreme controller. All glories to you, Subhadra Devi, the giver of auspiciousness to one and all. Sri Sudarshan Pranama. Lastly, we offer pranam to Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshana Mahajwala Koti Surya Samaprabha Ajnanatimidandhyanam Vaikuntabda Pradakshakaha Namaste Nitya Vilasad Vaishnavastra Niketana Avarya Viryam Yadrupam Vishnostat Paranamami Aham Pranamami Aham. Sudarshan Ji ki Jai. O Sudarshan, your great effulgence is as brilliant as millions of suns. You dispel the darkness of ignorance and thus reveal the path to the eternal world of Vaikuntha. I offer my obeisances unto the brightly shining Sudarshan Chakra, which never fails to offer all protection to the Vaishnavas. I humbly bow before Lord Vishnu's weapon of irresistible strength. So these pranam mantras and prayers for mercy, they're from the Skanda Purana. And so when we look at the deities now, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and Sudarshan, who is Lord Jagannath's, Lord Vishnu's chakra, we know that this is the mood that we should be having. Okay, so there is a lot to be said about the festival we are celebrating today. And it's the 15th of June today, but the actual day of Snan Purnima this year fell on June 11th, which is the Purnima, the full moon day. So this full moon day in this month of Jeshta is called Deva Snan Purnima. And it was June 11th that this tithi happened. So on this day, Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, they're given a public bath. So every day, just like every day here and in all the temples all over the world, the deities are bathed and dressed privately. But on this day, Lord Jagannath, he is given a public bath. And the reason for this is because it's actually his appearance day today. So today, so Snan Yatra day is accepted as the appearance day of Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. Jai Bhagwan. So with the causes of his appearance and the reason for his appearance in this particular form, there are many different stories. And I will try to quickly say these stories and then also get into exactly why this form and how this form happened. So it's like it's a pretty elevated discussion in some way, in that it's directly dealing with Radha and Krishna, and it's directly dealing with their feelings of separation and union. So Lord Jagannath, as we know, is Krishna feeling separation from Radharani. And this manifest form is called the Mahabhava Prakash. So the manifestation in a great mood of emotion, and this emotion is separation. So when, for example, we celebrate the appearance day of Lord Nrsingadev, Lord Varahadev, Lord Ramachandra, we talk about, we know they're all Krishna, and we know that these are all different manifestations or avatars of Krishna. So Lord Jagannath, he is Krishna himself. He's got many, many names. One of them is Purushottama, which means the supreme. And so Jagannath Puri is known as Purushottam Kshetra as well. And there's so many different pastimes. There's texts, there's religious scriptures that are dedicated solely to every little detail of the worship of Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. And most of it is from the Skanda Purana. Some of it is from religious texts that are tribal in nature. So with Lord Jagannath, um, there are certain tribes that have been worshipping him for generations, right from the beginning. In particular, the Daityas and the Sabaras. And these tribes, they are the ones who are still worshipping Lord Jagannath now. They have different duties, and it's all very much sort of traditional and has been happening for generations. So when Krishna was here on this earth planet 5,000 years ago, he went to Dwarka after his Vrindavan pastimes. And as we know, in Dwarka, he was married to 16,108 queens. So when he was living in Dwarka, Narad Muni would often come and visit. And Krishna, he was looked after extremely beautifully by all his queens, very wonderfully served in all the 16,108 palaces. We hear stories of Narad Muni coming and visiting and seeing that in each palace Krishna was doing a different activity. So one time, Krishna actually, most of the time, pretty much all the time, he used to internally feel Jai Bhagwan, Jai Shri Bhagwan. So he used to internally feel great separation from the gopis and from Radharani, despite living with his queens. And despite being served so nicely, he had this internal separation. So at night time, quite often he would be calling out the names of the gopis and the names of Radharani in particular. So he would be saying Gopi, 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 or Radhe, Radhe. And so his queens would think and feel very sad that we've been serving him so nicely, and who are these people that he's mentioning? So they went and asked Mother Rohini, who is Lord Balram's mother, and who was present in Vrindavan and also present in Dwarka. So when they went to ask Mother Rohini said, okay, I'll tell you the story, but nobody else should hear it. And so, Subhadra, if you could please guard the door so that nobody else hears it. And in particular, I don't want Krishna and Balaram to hear it, because if they hear it, they'll just want to go back straight to Vrindavan. And it will really make them feel a lot of separation. So Mother Rohini started telling the story, and all the queens were assembled together with her. And Lady Subhadra, she was guarding the door. So she was properly guarding the door. She had both hands outstretched like that, so nobody could come in or go out. And as Mother Rohini started telling the story of who these gopis were, who Radharani was, what Krishna's childhood and Kishore age pastimes were, the youthful pastimes of Radha and Krishna, as she started telling all these stories, all the queens were affected, of course, but Lady Subhadra, she began to feel ecstatic, very intense emotion, and so her eyes became dilated, and her arms shrunk, and her feet shrunk, her legs shrunk inwards, and she became stunned. So this is stunned with ecstasy. And then Krishna and Balram had just finished a meeting, and they were walking, and they happened to see Lady Subhadra looking like this. And when they saw her, they thought, okay, what's going on? And they quickly went, and as they approached the door, Lady Subhadra was not guarding the door anymore. She wasn't in her complete senses at all. So Krishna and Balram were able to hear the stories as well. And as soon as they heard even a little bit, they also became struck with intense emotion. And these are the forms that they displayed, like feeling really stunned and struck and feeling great mahabhava, great emotion of separation from Vrindavan and the Vrindavan Vasis, the people living in Vrindavan. So they were standing there at the door listening for a while, and Narad Muni happened to appear at that point in time. from a distance he saw these forms looking like this. And so he quickly started coming closer. And as he came closer, Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra, they came to their external senses. And gradually they manifested their normal forms. And Narad Muni, he said, no, I have already seen. This is a wonderful form of yours, and I really desire that this form actually be worshipped at some point in time on earth. So it's actually because of Narad Muni's desire that we have these forms of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra today. So that's one manifestation, one story, and another is that, so they all sort of run parallel in one sense, and so this other one is described very nicely in the Jagannath Priya Natakam, which is a book which is like the whole play of how Lord Jagannath appeared, and what happens, so this story I will tell very quickly because I really want to talk about something else as well. So what happens is that a long time ago, in some Sati Yuga, there was a king called Indradyumna, and he lived in Puri, close to Puri. And what happened is he was a king who had everything, but he was not content. He wanted to see the Lord face to face while still alive. So when he held assembly and many people came to his court, he would always ask the question, where has anybody seen the Lord? And many sages would come as well. So one day, one old sage, he said, yes, I have seen the Lord, and he lives on top of these blue mountains, the Niladhari mountains, and he's there, he's very beautiful, but it's difficult to go there. So immediately on hearing this, the king got more details and arranged for one of his servants to go, one of his very confidential and close servants to go. And this servant is described his whole journey, how he went through the forest and he had his entourage with him, horses and other men with him, how they went and the path they followed, and then they saw the mountains in the distance. And then so there was a lake, and then after the lake they actually they went through a village, and as they went through this village, they couldn't actually go any further, and night had fallen by then, so they stayed the night in the village, and the king of the villagers, he came back smelling very beautiful and looking very effulgent. So, and he would actually look like this every time he came back from somewhere. So this messenger of the king, he was very curious, and he happened to fall in love with the village king's daughter while he was living there. So eventually they married, and every day he would ask his wife, where is your father, the king of the village, coming back from, looking so effulgent, so happy, smelling so beautiful? Where is he coming back from? And eventually the wife told him that we have our deity, and he's living right on top of the mountain, but nobody is allowed to go and see him except for us, these tribal people, the Sabadas. So he insisted on going to see the deity because that was his whole mission that the king had sent him on. So one day his wife took him up, and he was clever in that she said, I'll blindfold you so that you don't know the way to come back and go there, which she did. But he was very clever, and he put some mustard seeds in a bag with a hole. So as they walked, the seeds fell. And then when he reached up there, the top of the mountains, he saw this beautiful form of Nila Madhava, who was made of Indra Nila, which is blue sapphire. And he looked very gorgeous. It's described his navel was shaped like a lotus. Very beautiful deity with Lakshmi Devi beside him. And he prayed to this deity. And then as he then went back, he went back to the king, and he told the king of what he had seen. So the king quickly came, but by the time, quickly means in that day and age with horses and everything, a matter of weeks, if not months. So by the time the king actually reached there, they followed the path of these trees, these plants that had grown, these mustard plants. And as they reached there, all they saw was a pile of sand. The deity had disappeared by then. And of course, the tribe, the Sabara tribe, had heard previously that there will be a king, he's going to come, and at that point in time, I'll disappear. And that was the whole reason they were so protective. They didn't want anybody to go and see. So as King Indradyumna came, they were all mourning and saying, our Krishna has left us. But then there was a voice from the sky which said that I will reappear, and I'll reappear in a particular form, and don't be morose. King Indradyumna, you will see me in this lifetime. So then we know what happens is that that Lord Jagannath came in this form of this magical wood that was floating on the ocean of Jagannath Puri. And then this wood was found, brought to the shore, and then eventually carved into these deity forms. So that's what I really want to tell the story of, because it's something that we don't hear often as to the real sort of detail of this Daru Brahman log form and the reason behind that. And then after that I'll talk about Snana Yatra and the practical aspects of the festival a little before we'll finish. So we know that Rath Yatra, the festival of Rath Yatra, is taking Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra back to Vrindavan. And the gopis are pulling the lords back to Vrindavan. So one time, what happens is that, so it all ties up. I'll just give you an overview first really quickly, is that this log that is floating on the ocean of Jagannath Puri, and which is then carved into the forms of the deities, that it's very poetic. And how it is described is that this is Lord Jagannath, this is Krishna, and he's floating in the ocean of Radharani's love. That this is Radha's love, that he's floating on this ocean of Puri. So this is how it happens. This is what I'll explain. So one time, Radharani was, when Krishna had left Vrindavan, she and all the other residents of Vrindavan were feeling extreme great separation. And Radharani was in her forest grove, surrounded by her gopis, and very close to leaving her body. And at that moment, Krishna's chariot reached Vrindavan. As soon as Krishna arrived in Vrindavan, he jumped down from his chariot and he appeared there in Nidhuvan, which is this grove of forest trees which are very curvy. The branches of these forests, even now, they're very, very curvy and curly, and it's because it's said that love has melted them, and they are all melting in Krishna's love. So in this forest of Nidhuvan, Radharani was lying in a very, very pitiable condition. Krishna ran to her, and from his mouth the words were coming, Radhe, Radhe, Dehi Pada Pallavam Udaram, O Radhe, O Radhe, please give me your lotus feet, I want to put them on my head. Krishna was shouting in that way. So feeling so much separation from Radharani, he became completely ecstatic. His arms and legs contracted into his body and he became like a tortoise. This is the form of Jagannath. With big dilated eyes, he was gazing at Radharani, who was lying there in the kunja as if dead. Seeing her condition, he lost his consciousness and fell to the ground. And in that form, he is feeling intense pangs of separation from Radha. That is the form of Jagannath. Radha bhava sindhure bhasa mana. As if he is a log of wood floating in the ocean of Radha bhava. So, this is what's happening to Krishna. And this is another instance in which he manifests himself as Jagannath. And so then what happens is that Krishna is lying there, and Radharani is also very close to leaving her body and just lying there now, and they're both not in external senses. However, what happens is there's a wind blowing over the transcendental body of Krishna, and when that wind touched the body of Radha, the breeze carried Krishna's smell, and it acted like a soothing balm. Radharani's life returned immediately because she knew that Krishna had arrived. In a very sweet voice, she said to Lalita, Lalita Gopi said in Radharani's ear, Krishna has come. Radharani gradually opened her eyes to see Prana Vallabha, her most beloved Krishna. This was the medicine by which she regained her life and got up. She forgot everything. She forgot all the separation that she had been feeling. This completely disappeared. Krishna was still unconscious in his Jagannath form. And seeing Krishna in this condition, Radharani told Vishaka Sakhi, please help Krishna. Vishaka knew exactly what to do. In a very sweet voice, she started to chant Radhe, Radhe, Radhe in Krishna's ears. Hearing this, Krishna regained his consciousness and opened his eyes. Krishna looked at Radharani and Radharani looked at Shyamsundara. In this, they had an eye-to-eye connection. Everyone forgot their previous condition. Talking about eye-to-eye union, this is also what happens in Jagannath Puri when Lord Chaitanya, he is standing there, and we know that he is Radharani internally, and he is feeling separation from Krishna. She is feeling separation from Krishna. Lord Jagannath is on the altar feeling separation from Radharani, and they also have an eye-to-eye connection. They also have an eye-to-eye union in Jagannath Puri. So when Radha and Krishna looked at each other in this forest grove of Nidhuvan, they forgot their previous condition. They forgot all their separation. That was all gone now. So even now, we probably are aware when we go to Vrindavan, there is Nidhivan or Nidhuvan over there. And this is where the night pastimes of Radha and Krishna take place. So the Sakhis arranged a nice bed for Radha and Krishna. And even now this happens. The pujari is there, they put a nice bed, they put toothpaste, toothbrush, clothes, all of those things, and nobody is allowed there at night time. It's said if somebody stays there at night time, they lose their minds. This has happened actually. So, when Brahma Muhurat came, a cuckoo bird produced a very sweet sound, indicating dawn had come. The divine couple awoke. Krishna was standing in his Shyama Sundara Tribhanga form, which is his three-bending form, just like we see here on the altar. He was dressed in a yellow dhoti, and he had a peacock feather in his hair. And all the gopis were there, so the scene is described, that the gopis were there, some were playing mirdanga, kartal, and this was a very beautiful union after their separation. So both of them then sat down on an effulgent jewel throne, and Vishaka started kirtan. And all the Sakhis came and joined. All the pangs of separation were over. So now there was milana, union after viraha, separation. And after the union, there will again be viraha. So separation and union, separation and union. And why this keeps happening is to basically make the emotion stronger. And the funny thing is that in separation, there is the most union, and that is spiritually speaking. Whereas, materially speaking, separation is separation. You know, there is not like a higher union happening. But this is the sweetness of Madhurya Leela. So then, finally, Krishna is looking at Radharani, and Radharani is looking at Krishna, and They're both sitting on the transcendental golden throne. And Krishna is saying, "Oh Radhe, in reality, in conclusion, there is no separation between you and me. Where is separation? There is no separation. Just in order to show your Vamya Bhav, your leftist mood, and raise it to the highest level, I create such Leela, such pastimes, such separation. You are always with me, and I am always with you, because your love for me is pure love, Radhe. Your love for me is like an unlimited ocean, and I want to drown in that ocean and enter into the core of your heart. In order to reach that deep ocean and drown in it, I have assumed the form of Jagannath. And in this form, I will stay eternally in Sri Kshetra." So this is the reason, like the Lord appears in so many different ways. Like when he comes as Lord Nrsingadev, he tears off a pillar and jumps out of the pillar. And when he comes as Lord Varaha, he comes out of the nostril of Lord Brahma. And so when he comes as Lord Jagannath, he comes in a very unique way. He's floating as a log in the ocean of Jagannath Puri. And the poetic meaning behind this is that he is floating, as I've just explained and read, that he is floating in the ocean of Radha Prema. And that the ocean of Jagannath Puri is compared to Radharani's love, the whole ocean of love, and that Lord Jagannath is floating and he's stunned and he's feeling great love. So what happens then as this Daru Brahman log is brought up to shore? Auspicious markings are seen on the Daru Brahman log, and then this log is carved by Vishwakarma, who is the architect of the demigods. And we hopefully all know the story of how then he is carved, but I'll tell it very quickly in just one or two sentences, is that King Indradyumna is told, "Don't open this room. Vishwakarma says, I'm going to be working here and carving, and don't open it, don't come close to it." So the king is hearing the sounds of all this work happening, but one day it stops, and then he can't tolerate it any further. And he goes and he opens the room, and the old carver is no longer there, and the lords are appearing in this form, with arms shrunken and no legs, or shrunken right in and big eyes. And so King Indradyumna, he becomes extremely sad, and he really is unhappy with himself for having opened that door, because he feels that the Lord isn't fully there, that the carver hasn't managed to fully carve the Lord as the Lord should be appearing. But then there is again an Akashvani, which is a voice from the sky, which says, "Dear King, this is how I wanted to appear. This is the form in which I am feeling separation from Radharani, but there is also union, and this is exactly my desire and my will." So then what happens is King Indradyumna does the Snana Yatra. He does the big bathing. And this is the day of Snana Yatra is the day of Lord Jagannath manifesting and being installed by King Indradyumna. So finally, what I'd like to say is what happens in Jagannath Puri during Snana Yatra is a very nice, very, very, very nice description. And like I was saying, the people, the pujaris, all the tribes serving Lord Jagannath, their whole lives are set in that way. Right from they follow all the rules, all the rituals as to this day the carving starts, this day we have to go and gather the water, like that. So just very quickly, what happens is the day before Snana Yatra, so the day before Devasnan Purnima, the deities are brought out in a great procession called Pahandi Vijay. And there is, lots of drums, lots of very nice indigenous tribal music. And they're brought out to a location of the temple in the temple complex called the Snana Mandap. And they're seated there. The next day, they are taken to the Snan Vedi, which is the bathing platform, which is a raised platform, raised dais, and this can be seen from even further away, long distance away. So a lot of people come and see the Lord getting bathed. And the water for his bathing is collected from Sona Kua, which is the golden well. And also, tribes, they collect it from the tribal people. They say they collect from ponds in the jungle which haven't been seen by anyone. And so 130 copper and gold pots is what this water is collected in, and is described that the people taking the water, they have masks covering their faces so that there's no germs going into the water. So they carry this and they leave it in the Snana Mandap. The next day, this water is brought to the Snana Vedi to bathe the deities. And in this water, there is all sorts of medicinal things as well. It's described that so many descriptions are given as to exactly what there is in this water, which is used to bathe Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. And we can actually see this today, even if you just Google Snan Yatra in Jagannath Puri. There is always footage on the day of the deities getting bathed, and we can even see it now. There will be videos. So it's very beautiful. It's described that the Snan Vedi is decorated with traditional paintings of trees and gardens, and also that the deities, as we know, Lord Jagannath, is always very beautifully decorated with so many flower arrangements. Like his nose ring is made of flowers, and he's got flowers on his head, so on his turban. So very elaborate, beautiful decorations of flowers. And the Lord is bathed. The bathing happens over a period of time. After the bathing, so in India it's hot, but here we are in the other hemisphere, so it's cold. After the bathing, as we know, for 14 days, the Lord falls sick, and this is called the Anavasar Kala, which is the inauspicious time for worship. The Lord isn't worshipped in this time. Only the very intimate tribal people are able to go and take him medicine, his pujaris. And in this time, the Lord is repainted, because with all the bathing, the paint runs off. And when the paint runs off, it's because it's not artificial synthetic paint. It's natural minerals that is used to paint the Lord in Puri. And so straight after the bathing, the Lord comes out, and the Lord is wonderful. He can achieve many outcomes with just one action. So one reason like today we'll see this, after the bathing, they will come in their Hathi Vesh, the elephant form. And there's a reason behind that. I'll leave that story for now. But when we see the Lord, we'll see Lady Subhadra with a lotus around her. And if we go back to her pranam mantra, it's described as she's seated in a lotus. So it's all very beautiful, these pastimes of Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and there's a lot of depth and a lot of meaning to it. So yes, I wanted to just quickly talk about the practical aspects of what happens. So when one reason, the last thing I'll say is, one reason the lords are offered when they come in their Hathi Vesh, they are offered sweets, is because elephants love sweets, and like especially sticky buns and things like that. So that's why when the Lord comes in his elephant form, there is lots of sweets on the altar. Okay, I'll stop now. Is there anything anybody would like to add or say or ask? Okay, if not, we'll stop. Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra, Jai Sudarshan Chakra, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Snana Yatra ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to make a comment on these deities, and that's what a famous devotee, Jagannath Bhakta, carved these Jagannath deities from the wood here at New Govardhana. His name is Jammi Jai. He has many pastimes with Lord Jagannath, making his carts. And these deities also had the grains in, the wood markings of the eyes, the Brahman thread. So these Jagannaths are very special.
Yes, thank you very much, Sadhana. That's true. Janmijay Prabhu, he carved the deities from the trees here at New Govardhana, and he's also had the honor of actually making all the carts so far that are used in Australia, except for this last one that was built here on the farm. It wasn't built by him. Yeah, and also there is a new cart that he has built, which is going to be used here on the farm for the children's Rath Yatra this year for the first time. All glories to his service. Hare Krishna.